This is our Different But Equal campaign, and we're focused on reducing gender inequalities in mental health. We want to break the cycle that pushes the idea that boys should be quiet about their mental and emotional health, and that only girls can voice it out. We believe that if we can allow boys to express themselves and have access to mental health resources, we'll see a reduction of violence to both women and men, and a decrease of inequalities overall.
Many males experience a greater degree of social and economic power than girls and women in our society. So why would our plan to fight gender inequality seem to be focused on boys? This is because many of the issues we see in our society with gender inequality starts with the premise of male privilege. According to the American Psychological Association, APA, male privilege, while appealing, often comes with a cost in the form of adherence to sexist ideologies designed to maintain male power while restricting men's ability to function adaptively. For instance, most boys are taught from an early age that they will suffer negative consequences for violating masculine role norms. As a result, sexism exists as a byproduct, reinforcer, and justification of this male privilege.
The impact of such sexism extends from boyhood into adulthood, sometimes influencing critical identity formative processes, such as career choices, which then contributes to gender imbalances in female or male-dominated professions.
Early socialization experiences in childhood, such as being repeatedly shamed for expressing vulnerable emotions, can have lasting influence into adulthood in ways that shape their intimate relationships.
लड़के नहीं रोते
बैठो बैठो लड़के रोते नहीं Stop crying, Rohan. Are you a girl? Boys don't cry. Okay?
Are you a girl? Why are you crying? Don't behave like a girl.
चलो
Boys don't cry.
लड़के रोते नहीं मैंने बोला ना लड़के नहीं रोते हैं
लड़के रोते नहीं है
लड़के रोते नहीं हैं
लड़के रोते नहीं हैं
well done अरे लड़के नहीं रोते यार
ओ देवदास छोड़ ना यार लड़के ऐसे नहीं रोते
Boys are taught at an early age to bottle up their emotions except for anger. They are indoctrinated by the society and the adults in their lives that only women are somehow authorized to show emotions. Imagine this. As a society, we have basically Mirandaized our boys and told them, you have the right to remain silent and emotionless. Any feelings you show and say can and will be used against you in the eyes of the society. We train boys at a very young age to be warriors who show no fear or emotions, and then we expect them to have the emotional capacity to open up when they need help. There is a social stigma that seeking help or being vulnerable as a male is a sign of weakness.
Boys typically miss out on close relationships with other boys to avoid being classified as gay, except if that relation involves sports or any showing of dominance. However, this sort of relation is promoted for girls. Have you ever asked why is it okay for girls to go to the restroom together, but guys would prefer to take turns? Why do girls go into the restroom and feel free to chat, but guys have to remain quiet when next to another guy in the urinal? Lack of close relationships makes it difficult for boys to share their problems and see that they are not alone. Unfortunately, since no one speaks out, boys are made to feel that they are the only person in the world that cannot handle the stress. According to a report in 2016 by the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, girls are more likely than boys to receive mental health care in both schools and medical settings, mainly due to awareness and opportunity. Around puberty, girls typically get medical attention from their pediatrician, as well as their gynecologist, who are likely to spot mental health issues and refer them to get help. Boys, on the other hand, do not typically seek medical attention except when they are symptomatic or need a physical check done to be able to play sports. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, men are less likely than women to recognize, talk about, and seek treatment for depression, the result of which is that depression is being categorized as a women's problem. Suicide is the ultimate cry for help. It is not surprising that more women attempt suicide than men. However, men are about 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide than women. This is because a man's cry for help or suicide attempt is typically more violent, and the signs might even go unnoticed. While it is more difficult to notice boys experiencing subtle mental health challenges than girls, being able to identify the signs and symptoms of depression or other mental illnesses could save a life, whether it is a friend's life or your own.
It is very important that we are able to recognize the signs of mental illnesses at an early age, therefore preventing further damage in the long run. Some of these symptoms include feeling sad, hopeless, or worthless, having difficulty sleeping or sleeping too much, irritability or inappropriate behavior, exhibit behavior such as spending too much time at work or at sports, no pleasure from activities you once enjoyed, physical symptoms such as headaches or digestive problems, or drastic changes in appetite. If any of these symptoms are prevalent to you, it is time to speak up and reach out and end the stigma against mental illness.
According to the American Psychological Association, APA, the societal idea of masculinity can become toxic. It can lead to problems with dating and interpersonal intimacy, greater depression and anxiety, abuses of substances, problems with interpersonal violence like sexual assault, spousal abuse, and so on, greater health risk including high blood pressure, and greater overall psychological distress.
What does our campaign want to do about this? We want to stop the inequality from the start and fix the causes rather than the symptoms of gender inequality in mental health. We need to change the curse to secure a more balanced future for the world at large, one person at a time. We may not be able to save the whole world at once, but we can secure the future by implementing some of these ideas. Our first step is to make a campaign centered around elementary and middle school students, their teachers, counselors, as well as their parents to encourage boys to speak out, as well as girls.
As 5- and 6-year-olds, children already become more aware of their own emotions. They begin to recognize them in others, and their emotional vocabulary expands. With this increased language facility, the doors open to in-depth discussions about emotions, which are the main avenue for developing empathy skills.
We want to encourage their emotional growth in a more open and accepting environment by creating and fostering discussions that can come from a classroom situation, a current event, a shared reading of a book, a photograph, or even a television program that elicits an emotional response. Our campaign will also include working to remove the labels and stereotypes kids hear today that prevent them from being all they can be. This campaign will also teach them of words and phrases that can be hurtful and demoralizing. Our campaign will also include working to remove the labels and stereotypes kids hear today that prevent them from being all they can be. This campaign will also teach them of words and phrases that can be hurtful and demoralizing. We want to also provide teachers, counselors, and parents literature and other information about the effects of words, actions, and opportunities given to both the boys and girls. It is important that they also understand the impact of not allowing either side of the sexes to speak freely about their emotional status. We also want to incorporate programs like the Listening Project, developed in New York City's public schools, to encourage connections, teach boys to actively listen, challenge stereotypes, develop relationships, and foster a greater sense of humanity in the school curriculum. We want to engage celebrities, athletes, and people that kids respect and admire to talk about their own mental health and make it cool to get loose. This approach has been seen to have a huge ripple effect in both kids and adults. For example, when Kelvin Love, a basketball player, spoke about his mental health issues, it sparked a conversation and opened the doors for others to speak. We also would provide information about where and how to seek help. For example, there are teachers and guidance counselors who are great resources to seek help from. They would also be provided the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-8255, or 1-800-273-TALK to call when they feel hopeless.
Men grow up thinking it's weak to ask for help, and that if you do, you're seen as not being able to carry your own weight and survive. However, Women are taught to speak up and use their emotions to form their most important relationships. So when these two opposing views grow up, the men may see the women as inferior simply because they ask for help and form emotional relationship with others so freely. This results in men now feeling that women are inferior and they've learned how to ask for help, therefore they need to be taken care of. They are the weak among us, so to say. And this furthers the circle of gender inequality. However, if we intervene and teach young boys to express their feelings and form relationships, just like young girls are encouraged to, we might finally be able to see one another as equals in this already challenging game called life and treat each other equally. We need to stop the idea that existing as a gender is in turn picking a side as if we should be somehow against one another, vying for the position of the superior gender. There is beauty in our differences, and we must learn how to glorify those differences. We are different.
We are different.
We are different. We are different.
But we are also equal.
But we are equal.
But we are equal.
But we are equal.
And that is what we need to teach future generations.
And that is what we need to teach our future generations.
And that is what we need to teach our future generations.
And that's what we need to teach our future generations.
And that is something we need to teach our future generations.